past January, and now I work for the McCourt School as a research associate for our faculty. So I'm gonna kick things off by asking my fellow student panelists to just introduce themselves. If you guys want to just say who you are, what program you're in, maybe how far along in the program you are, just to give the students a little bit of an idea. And then maybe say a few things about, why you chose to come to Georgetown for your master's.
I'll start. Hi, I'm Lindsay Crane. I'm in the MPM program, which is the mid-career program. I think there's a couple of you here, maybe? Okay. Well, feel free we can chat later as well. But I work full-time and go to the MPM program full-time, which I don't necessarily recommend, but I just wanted to get it done in a year. And I work at a company here in town, energy company. I chose Georgetown. I looked at LSE and a couple other, because I was in London before I moved back to the States, and I looked at a couple other US universities, and I just really liked this program because it's here in Washington. And for me, that was a huge benefit.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Lord. I'm a second-year student in the part-time MPP program. So I work full-time during the day at the State Department and come to school 2 nights a week for classes. Similar reason for choosing Georgetown. I knew I wanted to stay in DC and continue working while earning my degree in this program format. Really appealed to me.
I'm Chris. I'm a second-year student in the International Development Policy program. I chose this program for a couple of reasons. One was the really strong focus on research methods that McCourt has, more so than a lot of the other schools in the area. And two is access to a really talented faculty, especially within the MIDP program. It's a very small group, it's a core group of faculty that I've gotten to work with really closely over the past 2 years.
Hi, my name is Leonel Prieto. I'm a dual degree MPP MBA student. I am in the third and last year of the program. And similar to my classmates, I came to Georgetown because of the reputation. Coming from Venezuela, I am originally from Venezuela. The Georgetown brand has a strong international recognition. And also the location. I think that being in DC is a competitive advantage for the program, and I wanted to be here and have the opportunity to live in DC.
Hi, my name is Julian. I'm from Argentina. I'm in the MPM program also. In a couple of months I'll finish. I'm working on my capstone on the last semester now. I chose Georgetown because I came from politics and I love politics. I want to be the president of my country. So, being in DC is the best way for me, has been the best way for me to absorb the most I could from American politics and try to bring the best practices from here to in order to try to improve some stuff there.
So as I said, I'm an MPP student as well, and I also am in the evening program. For me, it was a little bit different, the choice to come to Georgetown, because I was already working here as an employee. So, we have fabulous benefits here for our employees, so I was able to take advantage of that. But I actually looked at a number of different programs, master's programs at Georgetown, and I ended up choosing the public policy program because, as many of my fellow students have said, that it's so uniquely situated in Washington, D.C. It's such a great place to be doing policy work. So many opportunities as a student and after you graduate in this area. And the program also really appealed to me because of its strong focus on quantitative and research methods as well. I had done a master's program elsewhere previously, and that was not the focus there. And so in the program, I'm in my last semester, and I think I am happy that I made the choice for that reason, because even though it can be a little bit challenging in the beginning, maybe if you haven't had a lot of statistical experience before in terms of classes, it's definitely worth it because it really gives you a stronger understanding of the material than I think that you would get otherwise. So if everybody doesn't mind, I was thinking maybe you could just each sort of point out one of your favorite experiences
I do love my classes, and I love my cohort as well, especially. Fantastic group of mid-career people. I learn so much from them every day. But that fifth class, it's all the people coming into campus and all of the other aspects of what you have access to here at Georgetown, and then what they can connect you to in Washington as well. I think that that's a really special thing that not many people spend much time on when they're in school, and I've just even like taken vacation days to be able to do a lot of it because I think it's really helpful.
Really similar. I think the people that I've met here at the McCourt School have been just the best part of this program. My part-time evening cohort is amazing. They're working in all different types of policy sectors around DC, so they bring really interesting perspectives to class, and also meeting the full-time students as well, who I think are just amazing. They do internships, go to school full-time, and lead all of the clubs around campus as well. Additionally, I have kind of a unique policy interest in international development and humanitarian affairs, and the McCourt School has been super flexible and supportive with my interest in taking elective courses at other schools here within the Georgetown campus, as well as a couple classes that I took at other universities here in DC at Johns Hopkins and George Mason, and was able to transfer the credits in. So they're really accommodating, and I've had a lot of good conversations with academic advisors as well as faculty about those interests and what types of classes I can take to pursue that, which is really helpful.
So I'd say my best experiences have been with the research centers that are here on campus. I know there's a number of them devoted to all different kinds of policy areas, but I've worked with GUIDE, which is the on-campus research group for international development and development economics. I've done that since my first year, and through them was actually able to go to Rwanda for an internship last summer through the university, paid for entirely. I got to work on some real research projects that were happening in Rwanda, and having close access to be able to come in with, I didn't have a lot of development experience before starting the NYDP program, but being able to come in and within 9 months being like on the ground running impact evaluations was awesome for me.
In my case, similar to what was said before, I think engaging with classmates and the student organization made a structural part of my MPP. I was able to co-found and lead one student organization focused on Latin America, the Latin American Policy Association. And the benefits and the externalities of having 2 years of experience in LAPA were just impressive. I was able to have classmates that were first classmates, then friends, and now are family to me. But also parallel to that, we were able to had one-on-one meetings with former presidents of the region, with the most prominent leaders of the region that are either based in the region or based here in DC. And that's an externality that I was not directly expecting from the program, and to me was one of the most critical parts of it.
Yeah, me too. I think the involvement within the different groups that there are on campus has been really great. Having working the whole years in the Institute of Politics and in the Fellows Program, I work with the former governor, and I'm working with the former director of communication of the White House, and like taking their experiences like to apply to my case, and learning a lot of more about politics has been absolutely great, and that's the kind of access I really came for here. And then like having the diversity that the university has from our Latin American friends, and there are people all over the world with different experiences. You can learn a lot from them, so I think that 2 points are the most enjoyable.
So I think for me, strangely, and you probably won't hear a lot of people say this, the capstone has actually been my favorite part of the program, because for me, I sort of came into the program without a strong sense of exactly what policy area I wanted to work in. And I was able to take, all kinds of different electives and work with different professors who focus on different areas of policy, and really sort of just see what all was out there, which was great in and of itself. But then I sort of had an interest in criminal justice policy to explore. And so when we were, deciding whether we wanted to do the capstone or the thesis, basically you don't really know what your options are going to be in the capstone, who you're going to be assigned to, or anything before you dive in. And so it ended up working out so fabulously because the client that I got assigned to was the Baltimore Police Department. And I've been working with them on their sort of use of force data and doing some analysis for them on some issues that are just really, important right now and in, the public spotlight and everything. So, students often sort of grumble when it comes time to talk about thesis and capstone. It can be a bit, overwhelming. It's the long haul. It's a lot of work. But for me, I feel like it's actually become, the most rewarding part of it. Which again, maybe you won't hear from everyone, but it just sort of highlights, the flexibility of the program, and how really, truly amazing the staff and the faculty are that they can attract such, amazing faculty and clients and everybody to give the students at McCourt so many different opportunities that can really make the program your own. So one thing that I think might be helpful to students who haven't started the program yet would be if maybe you could just try to think of something that maybe you wish you had known before you started. Just anything sort of that you think will be helpful for somebody starting out to know, maybe something that, will help them take advantage of the resources here, or something that, something to do with signing up for classes or any kind of administrative things, anything that you think would improve their experience.
So I think Georgetown has experts on everything, and I think that if you know what you're really passionate about there's experts not just in McCourt and in SFS, but other places around campus that are kind of linked to what you're doing. For the most part is what I found. And so when you reach out to them, they're actually just really helpful. I've done that quite a bit. My capstone is on something that I don't necessarily know much about in terms of, regulation of business. And so reaching out to the business school has been really helpful. So I think, if you're really passionate about a topic or you're really interested in something, just reach out to all the experts on campus and ask around and do web searches and try to figure out who else here. There's a ton of people here and a ton of people affiliated with the university. And so really the world is your oyster in terms of expertise.
For me, when I was deciding if I should do this program or not, one of my biggest hesitations was the quant requirements. It was really intimidating to me. I had not taken math since high school. And so coming into my first, especially if you're in the part-time program, you spend your first year doing nothing but stats and econ. You don't get to take any fun elective courses until your second year. So it's kind of like a big hurdle to get over. And those actually ended up being some of my favorite classes, surprisingly to myself. And part of that reason is because there's such a good support network. If you need help with study groups or professors, we're all super available with office hours. And then just working with classmates through problem sets, trying to check our answers and stuff. It was stressful, but it was much more manageable than I thought. So don't be too intimidated by the quant.
So I'd say it's largely up to you how much you get out of your experience here. By that I mean McCourt does a fantastic job to create an enabling environment to give you everything you need to succeed. But it's up to you to pursue your interests and to put those pieces together. Like you'll get the skills you need from your coursework, and you'll get exposure to faculty like that. But you can take it so much further. You can work on the side and apply those lessons that you learn in the classroom to different contexts and different problems. You can get involved in campus organizations, but you don't have to do those. Like you can just show up and go to class and you'll get a great education, but to really get the most out of your time here, like just take advantage of all the resources that there are.
Yes, I fully agree with Chris. I think it's important to take advantage of the opportunity, and I will add that don't underestimate the power of sending an email, sending a note, of being here, because I think for example, in my case, I was a little bit shy at the beginning, or I didn't knew an email could open so many doors. Just sending an email to someone you don't know on the other side. And I got surprised after the first 6 months. I started sending emails and people started answering. And for example, with LAPA, we were getting very nice events going on just because of the power of a Georgetown email. So definitely seize the opportunity and don't underestimate the access that you can achieve by being here.
Yeah, I think also in the NPM, the summer when you start the program is so intensive that it took me too long for me like to start taking advantage of the different stuff that the campus have. Like strongly believing in the power of networking. It took me like months to start like mailing the faculty members or the different resources that Georgetown had. But like if you can take advantage of that kind of stuff from since the first day, I think it's like the biggest thing the campus can offer to you.
Yeah, for me, I think being in the evening program, I really didn't know what my relationship with other students in the evening program was going to be like. I didn't know if it was going to be close or if they were, everyone was just going to be so busy with their jobs that it just was like something you came and did in the evenings, or I didn't really anticipate how that was going to work out. But I think that the best part about being in the evening program is really how approachable and just how friendly and just really helpful everyone is. And I underestimated at first how much the other students in the program can really be a resource to impact your experience at Georgetown and really enhance that. They come from all backgrounds, in terms of their study, what work they've done, where they're from, and I found that just even being in class with those people and doing study groups with them, sort of, going to events with them, anything like where they were a part of it, it just was really an opportunity to sort of leverage their expertise to enhance my experience and give me a lot of ideas about what I could be doing or looking into and things like that. So I guess I'll see if you guys have anything else that you thought was really important that you wanted to say, and then probably open it up to questions, because I think that might be the best way to get you guys the information that you really want. Anybody? Last comments? Okay. Does anybody have questions they want to ask? Take your time, think about it.
This is kind of specifically for you, and maybe more specific than other people are looking for, but you had mentioned that you had an interest in criminal justice or like criminal justice reform, and I was like looking through some of the electives. Did you think there was a significant course load or like outside activities to really meet that interest aside from your capstone?
So one of the best things about this program is, as some other of my fellow students mentioned, the flexibility in terms of taking courses in other departments, taking courses at other universities. And so within the group of, elective courses that McCourt, offers pretty consistently, there's not a lot of coursework related to sort of criminal justice as a policy area. But we do have a number of organizations on campus that do work in those areas, and also courses in government sociology, and I'm sure at a number of other universities. Even at the law school, you can take classes over there if that's something that you're interested in. It's really that flexible. For me, I am also, just like my second job, is I work part-time as a research assistant for the Georgetown University Prisons and Justice Initiative, which is a new organization that just started last year, and it's directed by one of our professors in the government department, but we have a number of faculty from all different departments on campus that participate as researchers. We have faculty seminar series where they talk about sort of the research that they're doing. There's a lot of opportunities to see what's happening on campus, who's working in these areas, and what you can get involved in. We also have the Center for Juvenile Justice Reform that specifically works on juvenile justice issues, and then we also partner oftentimes with the law school to do certain events or provide opportunities for students. One of the things that the Prisons and Justice Initiative does also is we have an internship matching program where students who are interested in doing an internship or a fellowship or a mentorship with any of the DC area organizations who are interested in doing some work with them, they can sign up with us and then tell us what they're interested in, and we come back with a number of options with organizations that we've negotiated for positions with, where those students can find opportunities. And I know that the Prisons and Justice Initiative is not the only group doing that. So there's a lot of different student-run organizations, university-run, faculty-run organizations that do that for a ton of different areas of interest. So we have another student who just joined us. I don't know if you want to just quickly introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what program you're in, where you are in the program.
Sure. So I'm Adam Bloemon, first year MPP, used to be a journalist, came over here because DC is sort of my equivalent of the political center. It's the political center of the universe, even though I'm British and therefore a stranger in a sort of strange land, interfering in someone else's elections. But I really enjoy doing that. And it's a great place to be, largely because this is where all the stuff is happening, and you can spend huge amounts of your time getting involved in DC life and the sort of vast ecosystem of think tanks, international institutions and organizations, research outlets, campaign, finance people, strategy people, all this sort of stuff. Anything that you guys are likely to be interested in, you can do here, and you can work here while studying. So I think that's a really great advantage of being here.
I just want to add, I don't know, but I used to work since I was very young, so it was kind of jogging for me, like going back to study, and then what I am going to do with my free time. So there's a huge opportunity here, and also for international students to work here on campus, because our visa only allow us to do certain kind of jobs. And I think that nearly every international student I know is working here on campus at McCourt or different centers here. So between that opportunity and all the events that the university held, or being in DC, you can go to different forums or congresses or different stuff. You don't have enough time to do everything you want to do here. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Building on top of that, another attractive employment opportunities for international students here are the multilateral organizations. You have here the World Bank, the Inter-American Development Bank, you have the International Monetary Fund. So that's also, and those are organizations that require a very particular type of visa. So the traditional visa restrictions that we listen outside every time do not apply to those type of jobs. And that's why it's also very attractive for international students as well.
Do you have another question?
Yeah, my question is specifically for the dual degree program. I'm doing a hopefully JD and MPP program, but how do you find the court? I know that when there's multiple institutions involved, it can be difficult as far as coordinating classes and also communication between those. And then how do you find the 3-year, or in my case would be 4-year, instead of just the 2-year? And how do you kind of juggle that and think about that?
Sure. I want to speak specifically on the MBA MPP, which is the one I'm enrolled at. From that part, I would say that in terms of coordination, there's full coordination. The program is very well structured in a way that is, they're trying to diminish as much as possible the amount of redundancy between the two programs. So for example, the MBA school has a quantitative statistics class, and here we have 3. And in that sense, the MBA just relies on the stats that we learn here because they understand that these ones are much more advanced than the ones we learn there. And that's just one simple example. So they try to minimize any overlapping opportunities that they might have, which is great. They are in constant communication, so they talk to each other, and you can take electives here or there, or even in other schools as well. And what you mentioned about going that extra 1 year or 2 years in your case, I think it's a sacrifice in terms that it's an additional year, the opportunity cost that implies, the real cost that implied. Also, for example, in my case, I started my first year here, and my group of friends with whom I studied the first 2 years already graduated, so you have a little bit of mixed feelings in that sense. But looking on the bright side, I also had the opportunity to meet classmates from 2 different classes or from 2 different years, which is also great. I mean, you have a bigger network. And I think also Georgetown, as we said before, because of all the resources and all the tools and all the opportunities we have here, it makes it significantly easy to stay here 1 extra year.
I guess I can also add that, so I am, as I said, a student here, but I've also worked at the university for about 5 years, and I used to work in the registrar's office, which is the office that helps with a lot of that coordination between schools, within Georgetown, between departments within Georgetown, between Georgetown and other universities. And so what I can say, and maybe I'm a little biased because now I work here at McCourt, but just coming from a student, my perspective as a student, that the staff at McCourt is just absolutely fabulous. They are really committed to the students and their experience. Nirmala, I think, spoke earlier to you guys. She's been an absolutely invaluable resource for me. I had a bunch of transfer credits that I wanted to move over, and she, walked me through that whole process. She took everything on and helped me get everything through. It was super easy, and they're very knowledgeable and helpful. And Leslie Everett, I think, maybe also spoke to you guys today. She just was nominated for and won the Distinguished Staff Award. So, that speaks for itself, but also, from my personal experience working with them as an employee and as a student, I just can't say enough good things about the staff here at McCourt and how much they really are committed to each student's experience. Go ahead.
I am coming from a background, I was a public school teacher for 5 years. These guys already know that. But so part of why I'm here is because I've been looking at my students for the last 5 years, dealing with all these issues that they're dealing with, and bringing them into my classroom, and I'm like, there's got to be another way to help them that is beyond just being from the front of the classroom. But that also means that I feel a little bit of choice paralysis after hearing everything today, because I really don't know what to focus on. And so I'm kind of wondering, how common is that for students coming here? Is it unwise to start a program when I have so many things that I want fixed and so many different interests in that sense? Do you guys have any guidance for, I don't know if any of you could relate to the feeling of not really knowing what to do?
I can totally relate to that. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I started this program. I really didn't. I felt like I could really work on so many different policy issues and in so many different areas that I sort of seized the opportunity to just let the program happen and tell me what I liked. So I tried to take, classes with faculty who were in all different areas, reach out to ones that I didn't have for class just to talk about what they do and what they've been doing. Also, a lot of classes will, especially electives, will bring in a lot of guest speakers who work in DC or around the country in a ton of different policy areas. And so for me, I just sort of let it be organically something that would inform me as I experienced it. And I feel like I'm so happy I did that, because now I'm working as a research associate for all of the core faculty here who all do a ton of different things, and I still like it as much as I did when I started, working in all those different areas. But at the same time, I've
came in as thinking, oh, I'll use this and then I'll pivot in my career. And so I started kind of searching down 3 different areas. You have your MPP, or are you looking at the MPP program?
Yeah, joint with the JP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have a benefit there in that the first year is not necessarily, like, you're not doing a ton of policy papers or things like that. So you have time to kind of go around town and Georgetown and figure things out and try to figure out what you're interested in. So I went to think tanks and actually just sat down with the expert and just talked to them and read their papers, and they kind of directed me in different ways. And then I also looked around here as well. And then for our program, we were doing a ton of policy papers in the very beginning. And so I was able to kind of focus on different areas and then see what I really liked. But I'm not sure if you can do that in MPP in your first year, but we were able to do that. It was great. That way I found one thing just really, really hard for me, and I just didn't, I thought I was really gonna like it, and I just didn't like it. So it was really great to be able to cross that off my list.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. If I could just add one thing, I came into the program knowing that I wanted to continue working in the field I'm in right now, but part of what attracted me to this program is that the quantitative and policy analysis skills you learn in your core classes are really transferable into any sector you might be interested in. And so in my mind, if I ever wanted to make a career change, these skills would still be applicable across any number of fields. And like these guys said, I think that once you're here and you're talking to people and you're going to events and taking different classes, it might become more clear to you what you actually do want to work on.
I mean, it's a similar experience for me. Like, I got here knowing I wanted to do international development, but, you know, that's a really big nebulous term, and I didn't really have any idea what I wanted to do beyond that, whether it be, you know, economic development, health, policy, you know, all the areas of policy just for developing countries. Like, I think I've done 4 or 5 of these panels, and I think every time I gave a different answer for what it was I was interested in, because it just, like, every time I would find something new, it'd be like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah, that's what I like. And just having, and knowing it's okay to do that. So you can do an internship with health policy and realize that you hate health policy and never do it again. Like, there's no problem with doing that. It's still a good experience.
Yeah.
Like, you have time to figure out what you actually care about.
Yeah, I just think grad students in general are more confused about their direction in life than non-grad students. That's a fairly common experience. The extent to which it's customizable, there's a whole spectrum of things from very work-focused to more academic-focused. So one thing that I quite like about this program is we can do PhD classes at other universities and a few at Georgetown as well. So in terms of the quantitative stuff, at George Washington, there are PhD programs in statistics that get very, very complicated or esoteric, and you can do all that stuff if you want to as well.
Can I ask the young students how it's been like to, you know, form study groups, to work on things together, to bond with other students who are not here, you know, all day, every day? Are you starting to form those bonds? And then I kind of had a question specifically for you, Chelsea. You know, if you're already working in the government, what do you see this? You're already working for state. What do you see this degree doing for you moving forward?
So on the first part of your question, it's definitely a huge lifestyle change to add this to a full-time job. But what I was pleasantly surprised by, like I mentioned earlier, my cohort of Indian students are totally awesome, and everyone has become surprisingly really close friends. Part of what I think helps that is that you're all having the same experience. Everyone's working full-time. Everyone's coming here. Everyone has relationships and social lives outside of this world that they're trying to maintain as well. And so you're all equally busy. In my class, I mean, we ended up forming a couple different groups who are, like, I have a group text going with like 8 other students who we talk all the time. There was a lot of, during our first year, taking stats and econ classes, either staying here on the nights we were already at school to work on some stuff after class, or meeting up on the weekends if we lived in similar neighborhoods. Also a lot of texting each other, like, this is what my graph looks like, is this what yours looks like? So there's definitely ways to make it work. And I know that I haven't done this, that some of my other part-time students, you know, if their classes are close together, they're getting lunch together, or they're meeting with some of the professors who also work full-time in the city during work hours as well. So I've actually found that to be one of the best parts of the program. It's actually my relationship with other students. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, I totally agree. Whenever people ask me, or they'll make comments like, "Oh my gosh, it must be horrible to work full time and then go to class at night," I'm like, sure, okay, yeah, it is, like, in a way, right? But it's also pretty awesome, and I really love. It was such a pleasant surprise to me how close our cohort in the evening program became, and how much everybody was just genuinely interested in being there for each other when things were crazy and you did sort of feel a little overwhelmed, but then also supporting each other in like learning in the program and doing well. I mean, it was almost the opposite of competitive in a way,
Yeah.
because in the evening program it's like as you said, everybody is having that same experience with you, which in and of itself is enough to sort of make you feel better about, how kind of crazy it can be at first when you're making that big transition. But then also just everybody was so willing to talk about the problem sets, to meet up with you for coffee, to chat about, whatever was going on in the program, whether it was just to sort of bitch about, an assignment that was really hard, or to actually talk about the, economics and really help each other understand. Because again, people are coming from all different educational and working backgrounds, and so some of them are really good at some things and totally get it already, and you don't. And so they help you then, and then the tables turn, and you have some knowledge and some experience that is really helpful to the rest of the group. So it's a totally cooperative experience that I found to be so rewarding, and I'm, friends with all those people. It's so wonderful as the program wraps up to sort of just be happy for everybody, and they're like graduating, they're moving on in their careers, and it's just a really nice feeling of camaraderie there throughout the program.
Yeah.
You want to address the
Yeah, I mean, it also helps that you spend your entire first year taking the same classes with these people, because you're all doing quant and econ. And then, I mean, this year we've all been in different types of electives based on our policy interests, but like I saw my cohort for a happy hour a couple weeks ago, and I was like, the only reason I'm excited for stats this summer is that we're all going to be together again. But, so you definitely form those bonds.
yeah.
For me specifically, in terms of my career, I work at the State Department as a contractor, which I'm happy to talk about in more detail if anyone's interested in that. It's kind of like a weird, nuanced employment situation, but I've been there for about 5 years working. I worked in 2 different bureaus, and when I was applying to grad schools a couple years ago now, I knew that, I mean, everyone I work with has a graduate degree of some sort, a law degree, a PhD, or some type of 2 years master's program. And so I knew I needed to get something partially to kind of just check that box and be able to advance in my career and never be ruled out of, promotions or management positions, stuff like that. The other big draw for me was an interest in the opportunity for certain types of fellowship programs after getting my master's. So the Presidential Management Fellows Program is a good way to enter the civil service once you finish a master's degree. Also similar types of programs like at the World Bank, the professionals program, stuff like that, in order to kind of transfer out of the contracting type of job I have now and into more of like a full-time direct hire position with one of these types of agencies.
So I think it's 5, but we're supposed to wrap up soon, but the reception doesn't start until 5:15, so I'm going to go ahead and take one more question, and then maybe we'll wrap it up there, and you guys can sort of, I think we might be hanging out a little bit afterwards, so find us and ask us questions.
If I can ask a personal financial question, how many of you have received scholarships from outside of the university, or what sort of length of repayment plans are you looking at? How confident do you feel that you'll be paying it back within 5 to 10 years? Or, you know, what employment opportunities are you looking at that will pay your tuition for you?
So I'll start and be brief because I'm in a very unique position. Again, I work at Georgetown, so they pay 100% tuition benefits. So I'm not paying for this program. But, so I'll let the rest of the panel talk. Sorry.
Well, two of us are McCourt scholars, so we're not paying either.
I'm paying.
Okay.
I pay for it and then my company reimburses me 75%.
Okay, so I'm not getting reimbursed and I'm paying.
There you go. We found a winner.
It's a combination of things. Like I have some of the scholarship money from McCourt. I work 20 hours a week, and I have some loans. The loans are sizable, but not overwhelming, and I'm confident that I'll pay them off in 10 years. I'm not really looking at places that would like take that debt away from me. Like if that would happen, that'd be fantastic, but that wasn't really one of my considerations coming into it.
There are, though, a lot of, I think, and don't quote me on this, please look this up yourself. But I know that there are opportunities for if you work basically as a civil servant for 10 years or in a nonprofit, I believe, for 10 years, you can get forgiveness on your student loans. So there are things like that that are available. And our Office of Financial Aid is really knowledgeable about those opportunities and can help a great deal with sort of planning financially for during and after the program.
There are a couple of fellowships around to apply for. I've applied for a couple. And being DC, there are a lot of good opportunities for contracting or freelance work, some of which is sort of decently paid. There are a lot of internships as well, but which are kind of pitched probably at people a bit younger than people doing the program. But trying aggressively soliciting some paid work in DC is achievable, I think.
Oh, my company hires interns from Georgetown. And it pays really well
Nice.
in the summer.
And what is the company?
Shout out. I was gonna say, I think scholarship opportunities for part-time students, I think, tend to be more limited than for full-time students. So I mean, working full-time definitely helps a little bit with tuition and a lot with living expenses, but I've taken some loans for tuition as well. And my plan is to be applying to jobs, with either the U.S. government or some type of international institution that a lot of those organizations do offer pretty generous repayment programs in which they'll make your payments for you if you commit to a certain number of years of work. There's also the 10-year public service forgiveness option, which is pretty flexible in terms of working for an NGO, working for like everywhere from local to national government. So there